All right, welcome to Real Men Wear Kilts TV. I'm Patrick Joy. Today we're going to be talking about, we're going to dive back into politics, and we're going to be talking about the question of, is Biden being controlled? And if he is, who is actually in charge? Over the hi, bug. Sorry, dogs wanting attention. Anyways, over the last, the entire time Biden's been in office, Biden's made comments during press conferences that allude, and it's the basis of this theory that's going around that someone else is actually in charge, that, basically his comments allude that maybe there's someone in charge of him. Now, this is a really scary idea. Someone in charge of the President of the United States. The President of the United States is supposed to be the most powerful man in the free world. He's supposed to be basically one of the most powerful people in the world in general. So someone in charge of the president. Now, I'm not saying someone is controlling Biden. I don't know. I just want to look at this objectively. Biden has made comments like, I'm supposed to stop talking now. Or, I'm supposed to stop talking and leave the room now. Or, I'm not supposed to take more questions. Or, things like that. And it makes you wonder. And you know what? I'm just some dude out in the middle of Nebraska, don't know diddly squat. But, except what I see on the news, what I read in news articles, and what I see on videos, news clips, stuff like that. And I try to get as much information from as many sources as possible. And I have to say, it really worries me that, is Biden being controlled? And who is he being controlled by? Is it the squad? Is it some shadowy group that we don't know about? Is it, people who are, people like George Soros? We don't know. If it's even happening. We don't know for sure. What we can say for sure is Biden has made comments, and a prominent senator from Idaho, Republican senator, yes, but a senator from Idaho, so someone a little more credible and maybe has a little more access to information and whatnot, recently had, during a Senate committee hearing, had the Secretary of State, Mr. Blinken, had him in the hot seat at a committee hearing. And he basically posed the question, who's actually in charge? And the reason he did this was, to quote him right here from a Washington Post article, he said, somebody in the White House, hold on, that's not what I'm looking for. Where's the quote I'm looking for? Okay, here's part of the exchange that was in the White House, or in the Washington Post article. Somebody in the White House who has authority to press the button and stop the president and cut off the president's speaking ability and sound. Who is that person? Lincoln replied, I think anyone who knows the president, including members of this committee, knows he speaks very clearly and very deliberately for himself. No one else does. Rice then goes, well, are you saying there is no one in the White House who can cut him off? Because yesterday that happened, and it's happened a number of times before. It's been widely reported that somebody has the ability to push the button and cut off his sound and stop him from speaking. Who is that person? Lincoln replied, There is no such person. Again, the president speaks for himself. Rice goes, are you telling this committee that there is no one in the White House who has the ability to push a button and cut him off mid-sentence? Lincoln said that's exactly what he was saying. Now, here's the thing. It really has been widely reported that we've seen it on the news where Biden's giving a press conference and suddenly his mic goes dead and he ends up kind of just leaving. That has happened a couple of times. I've seen it on the news myself, and anyone else has seen it. Now, whether this was just technical errors, maybe that's a possibility. Let's throw out all the possible scenarios. But you also see Biden being kind of escorted away. And Biden's also said things like, I'm supposed to stop talking now, or I'm not supposed to take any more questions, or I'm supposed to leave now. It really makes you wonder, why is he being limited? Why is he claiming to be limited on his engagement with the press and with the American people? These are all questions we need to ask. Biden himself has alluded to it. It at the very least needs to be, shall we say, investigated. Because how scary would it be if the person that was elected in the election, now I'm not saying, that's a whole other thing there, but the person who has become the president and supposedly was elected, how scary is it that someone could be controlling him? Someone who no one voted for. I mean, I'm just saying, this is something that needs to be investigated. I'm not saying it's happening. Is China in charge? Is Russia in charge? Is someone like George Soros or other wealthy individuals who have their own political agendas? We don't know for sure. Could it be nobody? Could it be just Biden, just being Biden? Who the hell knows? The point is, we should be investigating this stuff. We should be looking into these things. And that's as reasonable Americans, we should be doing this. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. This is something very important that we need to look at. Because to me, it's a very scary thought that, and this is just my opinion, okay? Which really ain't, you're looking more at, most of what's being put out there as news is mostly a political opinion. This is my personal opinion. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. The idea of the president being controlled by someone else, someone that we don't know who it is a very scary thought. And something that we need to look at. Because if that's the case, what happened to our democracy? Or our democratic republic, I should say. See, and that's another thing. Everybody talks about, it's a democracy. No, the United States is not a democracy. We are a democratic republic. That's something that we need to remember. Difference being is a true democracy the rights of the individual is not protected. In Democratic Republic, yes, we democratically elect our leaders, but the rights of the individual is protected. But in this situation, that goes out the window if there's someone who wasn't elected who's calling the shots. This is something we need to look at. This is something that needs to be investigated, and be investigated by a non-political organization. An organization that is going to be truly neutral in this situation. You know, that's just my opinion. You know, as far as that goes, and I want to make it very clear that that's only my opinion, and it's based on what I've seen. Yes, my opinion is based on things I've observed, and maybe you've observed something different. I don't know, but this needs to be looked at, and needs to be looked at very, very carefully. So, with that, I'm going to ask this question: is Biden being controlled? If so, who is in charge? And Senator Risch from Idaho, if you happen to see this, I'm going to be reaching out to your office. I would love to do an interview with you to discuss why you were making these assertions and why you were asking these questions. You know, is there something that you're seeing that the rest of us aren't seeing? My personal number's on the screen. By all means, give me a call, or have your people give me a call, and we'll set something up. I'm going to try and call your office and try and set something up myself, but by all means, please give me a call. Okay. Now, moving forward, another thing I wanted to talk about was General Milley. Hold on, let me pull up. See here. Now, General Milley is one of the I believe, hold on, let me pull this up here. Yeah, he is the Army Chief of Staff, and he has come into the news recently over the whole Afghanistan situation. General Milley has, he's being, there's calls for him to resign over the China thing as well as the Afghanistan thing. He actually advised Trump against pulling out of Afghanistan, but then under Biden, supposedly, allegedly, from what I've heard on the news, has, when Biden said he wanted to get out of Afghanistan, did not advise against getting out of Afghanistan. On top of that, there were, I believe, there's allegations of treason. There were some phone calls between him and China. New revelations in a book by Washington Post associate editor Bob Woodward and national political reporter Robert Costa claim Milley made 2 phone calls to Chinese officials in fear that Trump would create conflict with the nation, telling the officials that he would forewarned about the attack planned by the U.S. on China. The book claims that Milley contacted his Chinese counterpart after he had reviewed intelligence that suggested Chinese officials believed the United States was planning an attack on China amid military exercises in the South China Sea. So there's that right there, and that's from FoxNews.com. The source. But as you can see, or as you can, as I said, these revelations were made in a book written by a Washington Post associated editor and national political reporter Robert Costa. And the Washington Post tends to be a very liberal news article. So they tend to be very leftist in their stuff. So there might be something to this. Now, on top of that, there are connections between Biden, his son, and the Chinese government. And the Chinese government has recently made, and of course, connections to General Milley, it seems like. And, one of the things with that is, if you look at it, if you really, really look at it, General Milley, and Biden and the Chinese might all be in bed together. There's a connection between General Milley and the Chinese government. Clearly, he must have sympathies towards them of some sort. Biden and his son certainly seem to potentially have connections that could be quite profitable in the right situation. And the Chinese government has now made some trade deal with the Afghans, with the Taliban in particular. I'm not sure exactly the details. I didn't have time to research that. But it really, really sounds like there's some sort of, it seems like the Democrats, every time they say, it seems like every time the political left says the political right's doing something, it's not actually the political right doing it, it's the political left doing it. That's what it seems like. And it really makes me wonder, they were saying, Trump was colluding with Russia and China and all this other crap. Could it actually be that the left's been doing it this whole time? Just saying, I'm just asking questions here. That's all I'm doing. I'm asking questions. And these are things that we should be asking. Every American should be asking these questions. Whether they prove to be true or not, we should be asking these questions. Clearly there was a phone call. Clearly some intelligence was gathered on said phone call. And it is believed that General Milley, his actions, based on what was gathered from these phone calls, I would agree with Trump when Trump said that, these actions were treasonous or potentially treasonous. I don't know what General Milley's up to. I don't know why he made phone calls to China like that. I don't know why he advised Trump against getting out of Afghanistan, but then didn't do the same thing with Biden. Clearly, the Afghanistan situation was just completely fucked over. Pardon my language, but that's really what it was. It was clearly fucked over. Fucked up big time. Poorly executed with the withdrawal. The withdrawal might have been premature. I know that's hard to swallow, given how long we've been in Afghanistan. But keep in mind, that soldiers serving there were not allowed to win. I'm just saying we need to really look into this. And take a very close examination of this. Because something's up with it. There is clearly something up. And investigations need to take place. And they need to be done in a non-political manner. So that we can get down to the bottom of exactly what's going on. That being said, if there's any senators, congressmen, the authors of this book on that, revealed this stuff, General Milley, if you want to try and defend yourself, by all means, my number's on the screen. Give me a call. If any senators or congressmen might have some more information, give me a call. Any credible source, if you have some more information on this, give me a call. That being said, the last thing I want to talk about is there is still discussion of, expanding the Supreme Court. Hold on. I can't remember the judge's name. There's a justice who is being pressured by some. I'm trying to remember his name. There we go. Let's see. I want to say this guy. Let me just double check. Yeah. So Justice Breyer, who's been on the Supreme Court for a really long time, hold on. I found a New York Times article. It's making me sign in. I don't know why. Oh, it's being stupid. Anyways, he's in, it's she. No, that's Bader Ginsburg. Okay, so Justice Breyer, Stephen G. Breyer, has been, he's 82, has been on the Supreme Court for nearly 27 years, and the liberals the left want him to retire while they can still get another liberal judge in. And he came out and he said something, here we go. Nope. I'm trying to find it. Okay, here we go. So he actually came out and responded to this. He said, "My experience of more than 30 years as a judge has shown me that once men and women take the judicial oath, they take the oath to heart. They are loyal to the rule of law, not to political party that helps secure their appointment." He also further continued and said, "If the public sees judges as politicians in robes, its confidence in the courts and in the rule of law itself can only diminishing the court's power." Now, he basically has come out and said, y'all want me to retire for political reasons, and I'm not here to be about politics. Now, he's one of the liberal judges on the court, and he doesn't like it. And he's been, he's been on the court for a while, and I don't know if I would necessarily agree with any of his, how he voted on anything, but, I'd have to do some more research and find out. But he makes a very good point there. He's warning that, the Supreme Court has a very important part as one of the three co-equal branches of our government. It is their job to look at what the other two branches is doing and say whether or not what they're doing is constitutional or not. That is their job. And I'm a firm believer that a Supreme Court justice or any justice or judge, whether, it doesn't matter, what level they're at as a judge or justice, politics should have nothing to do with their decision making. Period. In the story, especially the Supreme Court of the United States. This is the judicial branch of the United States. This branch exists in one of the most important roles that our government has in it. Is something constitutional or not? Politics should have nothing to do with whether something is constitutional or not. So when I look at, a statement like that, he is considered one of the liberal judges. And he comes out and says, what he says. Clearly, we ought to, open up our ears and listen a little bit. We really ought to listen to what he has to say, because they're talking. There's calls to expand the Supreme Court to make more judges, and done under a liberal administration. You can just about guarantee that the judges appointed are going to be liberals, and we don't need that. We don't want that. Necessarily, because what that expansion of the Supreme Court is going to do is it's going to politicize the Supreme Court. That's what it's going to do. We don't need to politicize the Supreme Court. And that's the thing. I hate when we talk about liberal justices and conservative justices on the Supreme Court. Shouldn't they just be justices on the Supreme Court? I would hope that most justices on the most, or if not all, justices on the Supreme Court would make their decisions based on the Constitution, the supreme law of the land, instead of making decisions based on what political party put them there. And despite their own political beliefs. The pressuring of Justice Breyer to retire, them trying to, pressure him into retiring, is a politicization, is an attempt to politicize the Supreme Court. It is purely politically motivated, is not motivated by anything other than politics. Man's 82 years old. He still wants to serve as Supreme Court Justice. Well, their appointments are for life or until they retire. You know, I applaud him for his attempt to keep the politics out of it. And I applaud him for his statement. A very, very critical statement. Now, that being said, you know, I do believe there are some justices on the Supreme Court, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, for instance, who I believe are clearly there for the purposes of furthering a political agenda. I hope that's not really the case, but from what I've seen, that seems to be the case in some instances. This justice here, I applaud you. Anyways, that's really all I want to talk about. And Justice Breyer, again, huge respect for your, or is it Breyer May? Oh, no, never mind. Sorry, I was reading something, and it's just how they wrote it. It made it come across. But Justice Breyer, I applaud you. I'd love to get a further statement on this from you. Get my numbers on the screen, have your people call me, or, you know, whatever. Love to get a statement from you on this. Anyways, down in the comments below, anyone want to make any comments on what I had to say, by all means make some comments. I do read the comments. I like reading the comments. Again, I'm not trying to further any conspiracy theories. I'm just pointing out my own observations, things I've read, things I've seen on news, things I've seen in video clips that were news related. I encourage everybody to get their news from as many sources as possible and do their own research when it comes to this stuff. That's one of the most important things you can do, is do your own research. Don't take anything at face value that's reported nowadays, because, you know, it can mean a million different things. Anyways, with that, hope everyone's doing good. Leave a comment below, like and subscribe if you like what you're seeing. Check me out on Sunday afternoons on twitch.tv/RomanWhereKillsTV. I do a little gaming I do some gaming over there and talk with whoever's in the chat. So you can interact with me there. I don't do politics on that because I stream with Alphaners Guild as well, and there's some, you know, they don't want any political attachments or anything like that. But we can talk about life, talk about, you know, fun stuff, talk about gaming, whatever. I also do Nebraska Cornhusker videos because I'm from Nebraska, and, you know, that's on this channel as well. Go Big Red as far as that goes. Yeah, with that, we're going to call it, and hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's safe, happy, all that good shit. And we'll catch you guys next time. I'm going to try and release these videos every Tuesday or Wednesday. Later on, once I get them uploaded and edited and all that good stuff. With that, everyone have a good one. I'll talk to y'all later.